Hello and welcome to College Theater Auditions hosted by Playbill and The Growing Studio. I'm Danny George. Every Friday I sit down with different musical theater and acting colleges from across the country and ask your questions. Every Monday and Wednesday I chat with different directors, choreographers, composers, lyricists, you name it. I am so excited to interview two awesome colleges today, Marymount Manhattan and Manhattan School of Music. Are you there?
Yes.
Hello. Hi, how's it going?
Doing good.
Good to see you guys. Christine, where are you quarantining right now?
I am in New Jersey. We left Manhattan actually 2 or 3 years ago, so it's nice to be in a yard and area during quarantine time. I haven't been in Manhattan for almost 4 months. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, it's been a while for me too. It's so strange.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah. Enrique, what about yourself?
I'm actually here in Central Harlem, and I actually do have a backyard as well, so I'm able to get out and keep some fresh air.
Oh, nice. I am coming over when this is done.
Yeah, please do. We got tons of space.
Great. Now, if any of our viewers have questions for Manhattan School of Music or Marymount Manhattan, just leave a comment on Facebook or YouTube, and our engineer, Will Allen, shout out to Will, who is terrific, will send us our way. I'm going to jump in and get started. Christine, if you could tell us a little bit about Marymount Manhattan College and a little bit about what you do there.
Sure. Marymount Manhattan College is a small liberal arts college on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. We have about 1,700 students total, but our theater department is almost 700 students of that 1,700 total in the school. So we are a large portion of our small liberal arts college. And I would say another 400, 500 of those are in the arts in some way. We also have about 200 in our dance program, and which is separate from our musical theater program, and 100 in visual art, and then we have a communication arts program. So it's a very arts-heavy institution overall. I teach in the musical theater program. I'm the music director. I also teach music fundamentals, sight singing and theory, and I teach our senior level professional preparation and song portfolio classes, which is our full year senior class that preps them for the professional world.
How fantastic. And out of the 700, can you talk a little bit about the majors there?
Sure. We have a BFA in acting, a BFA in musical theater, a BFA in design and production, and then we have a BA in stage management. I have to tell you, I think it's transferring to a BFA right now as we speak in New York State. So I'm not sure where that is. And then our BA programs, we have, oh my goodness, theater history and text and playwriting our playwriting program is so fantastic, and so many of our musical theater and acting, and we also have a BA in directing. So many of them double major in our playwriting program as well. So yeah, BA in directing, theater history and text, theater and new media, which combines a lot of classes with our comm arts program and our theater program together, and then our BA in playwriting.
Wow, it sounds like a ton of amazing opportunities. Thank you.
A lot going on all at the same time.
Yeah, I love that so many people can work together. You know, that's really what it's all about. We are a collaborative art form. So to have that in an educational institution is really exciting.
It's really wonderful. One of our favorite things, projects that we do every year are playwright director workshops, where our student playwrights get to work with faculty directors and then student actors, and they all get to work together. So our students are actually performing the works of our student playwrights in our black box theater. So we have a lot of collaboration across the different disciplines, which is really exciting for everyone.
Terrific. Enrique, can you tell us a little bit about Manhattan School of Music and what you do there?
Yeah, Manhattan School of Music is it's a local conservatory here in New York City. It's been around for over 100 years, actually. I guess 2 years ago, we celebrated our centennial. So that was very exciting, with lots of concerts and performances that happened throughout the year. And you know, it's a conservatory. It's very professional. It's more focused in the music side of it. We offer a bachelor's of music in our program, not a BFA, which is a little different than most conservatories. But our musical theater program, it's just finished its 4-year program. It's brand new.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's been very exciting for sure. We had our first graduating class this past year Of course, it was during the pandemic, but they all really knocked it all out and got through the semester, and very exciting for all of them to move on and start something new in their lives. But again, we have professionals that are faculty members, you know, from Boyd Gaines to Randy Graff, who are teaching here at the school. And again, we collaborate with incoming directors and choreographers that come in and work on our performances and our shows. We do guest workshops that are coming in from professionals in the industry, you know, casting agents coming to talk and teach and such. So it's just a rotating network in our program, and to give the best to our schools. And our student base is only 117 to 111, so it's very small, very focused on each student.
And how cool to have a brand new program. You know, I think it's really exciting to build something from the ground up and to figure out what students really need in today's world and theatrical market. So how exciting.
Yeah, it really has been. It's been some challenging trying to figure out what's best and what works and what doesn't work, and take that away, but add this and do this. But you know, Liza Gennaro, who heads our program, has been fantastic. And I call her theater royalty, if you know that. And so she's got a really great mindset for this program, and it's very exciting to be working with her. My position is I'm on the musical theater dance faculty, but I'm also the musical theater academic and artistic assistant for the program.
That's fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about dance. You know, I think a lot of students or prospective students get really scared going into dance calls. You know, we fear that we might not be good enough or strong enough or where we want to be in terms of our skill set. What do you guys look for in terms of dancers applying? You know, do you have a lot of dancers in your program? And what's the dance training like at Manhattan School of Music?
Yeah, well, we find that our program for the dance side of things is very balanced. You know, we're not looking for necessarily all the top dancers. We want to keep it a nice mix. You know, when you look at each class, they're anywhere from 25 to 30 students. So we like to keep that balance of maybe there's a third of them that are really strong dancers, and then there's a third that's an intermediate, and they're a third they're just movers and never had danced in their entire lives. You know, most of these kids, especially men, don't start dancing until late in high school anyways, you know, so, right. So we keep it a nice balance, and we want the students to be able to come and, you know, learn the dance and have the knowledge of dance. That way they know what to expect when they go to a dance audition or a movers call. So, you know, like I preach to the students, we're not a dance program, you know, we're a musical theater program. So it's just more about having the knowledge of how to move, know how to do a shuffle, know how to do a single time step, do a nice clean single pirouette if you have to, you know. And then for our stronger dancers, we try to drive them a little bit more, but then we also try to push them to take outside classes, go to steps, go to Broadway Dance Center. There's more to learn and absorb, you know, than just being with me or any guest faculty we bring in. You know, because, you know, as you work with different choreographers, that's the whole point. It's different genres, it's different styles. So we already are trying to push them to learn different things. But we like to keep the balance. We don't focus on strong dancers only versus weak dancers. You know, we like to keep it a nice mix, because that also makes up your shows.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Christine, same question.
Yeah. Our dance audition for our program actually is more of a placement if you are accepted and come to the program, more than it is a barrier to getting into our program. It can help in certain situations, but it will never hurt you if your dance audition is not your strength. So we, just like Enrique said, we take students that have had basically no dance training and might look like I do, because I'm a musician. I don't come from the dance world. We take them from basically no training to some of our students are really fantastic dancers and come in with a lot of that, even if it's the dance competition world or whatever that dance training is. But I will say, because I've heard our dance faculty say this a lot in the audition and in our classes too, they really want you to try and tell the story. So even if your steps are wrong in that audition, even if you're like, I can't spot to save my life, if you do your best to tell that story of what's happening, that's what we're looking for when we're auditioning our students. But it does not affect the acceptance of the program. But once you're at Marymount, all of our students do dance 5 days a week, from 9 to 9 to 10:20 in the morning every single day for 4 years.
Wow.
In dance. So
That's fantastic.
It's a lot, and it takes a lot of inner strength as a college student to be in dance class every morning at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Actually, for our seniors start dance at 8:20 in the morning.
Oh my God.
Because our seniors are dancing at Pearl Studios, and that's on purpose so that they can then go to auditions starting at 10 o'clock. So we have to be out of our studios at Pearl by 9:50 so that, all of the companies can come in and hold auditions. So yeah.
So they're warmed up and ready. That's
yeah,
perfect.
exactly. So you think it gets easier at your senior year, and actually then we dial back the clock 40 minutes and they're all getting up even earlier. But it creates a real sense of dedication and a real sense of community when all of our students are doing that same process every morning and getting up and going. And we have so many amazing dance teachers that also teach at BDC and at STEPS, and some of our students will take their classes on their Saturdays and Sundays and take dance again. I mean, it's really, for both of our schools, I'm sure being in New York is such a wealth of resources for our students, and I think it's a really amazing place to be.
It's a great privilege for them. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about the most important movement of today, and that's Black Lives Matter, and how you are both working at your organizations to push anti-racism. We are learning every day at the Growing Studio, and it's a privilege to learn. It's a privilege to do better. We go under every type of anti-racist training so that we can be better. What are you guys doing at your schools to do the same?
Well, we've been having meetings left and right. I mean, at MSoM right now, over Zoom and everything. And we have a wonderful colleague who's been heading most of this up, Alexa Smith, who is the president's literally right-hand woman, who is also a person of color. And we are DEI workshops and constant forums and just talking through everything. Even our organizations, I'm the advisor for Alpha Psi Omega for musical theater at MSoM, and the officers are even wrangling workshops to do things so they can even be better themselves as students in an organization. So we're doing a lot. It's a lot of talking and a lot of discussions and open forums to make sure we have the right language, make sure we're being inclusive, and we have yet to have somebody or anybody saying they don't agree with our practices right now, of trying to get better, So we definitely are doing a lot for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Christine?
I was gonna say lots of meetings, right? It's been a summer of a lot of meetings, but really fantastic. I mean, Marymount right now, we're just saying we are very committed to creating an anti-racist, anti-sexist, gender and body inclusive curriculum and community, and that's kind of our guiding principle through the changes that we're making this summer, which includes microaggression training for faculty. We're all taking Nicole Brewer's anti-racist theater workshop in August. We're also planning more training sessions for our adjunct faculty as well as for our students when we come back in September, so that we're all on the same page, we all have the same language, and we understand what it means to create an anti-racist community, because it's going to take all of us together, making sure that we are aware and making sure that we're listening to our students of color and taking steps to make sure we're all going in the right direction together. And that also includes a lot of curriculum changes. We've made some major overhauls of our acting curriculum this summer. So our first semester of acting for all of our BFA and musical theater and acting students is going to be starting with students doing more improv, open scenes, so not scenes from plays, just starting to deal with who are you and what are those basic acting tools without worrying about being in a certain play or playing a different character. So that first semester has changed a lot. Our faculty have made great strides in finding more material, more plays to study that feature writers of color and also tell stories about people of color. So our first semester script analysis class, which every single theater student takes, we'll have a much better variety. So they're not just learning and reading about plays that were written by old white men, quite honestly, right? So there are curricular changes on every single level from freshman to senior year. And a lot of it just comes down to taking the students for who they are and starting with them. So when we're talking about rep, we're talking about this, it's like, okay, what do you want? What is it in this song that you want to look at? What in this scene do you want to look at? And making sure we're having an open dialogue with our students and not just assigning things because we think they're good, but making sure we have that open communication with all of our students.
It's so important to recognize perspective. It's so important to be open to learning. And it's even more important to create a community that is nurturing all students, but especially BIPOC students, to make sure that they can do their best. And I appreciate and applaud you for the changes that you guys are making.
Yeah. Just to add, I think the biggest conversation I think with all schools is just it's the discussion about the canon and how do we adjust that. Still tell the history of how musical theater, what it came from, and then the stories about that. But then, like Christine said, how do we include more BIPOC authors, choreographers, directors into the history now?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. My next question is about logistics. Can you tell me how many people you accept into your programs every year for musical theater and for acting?
Our goal is about 55 for musical theater and from 45 to 50 for our acting program. We do run on rolling admissions. And so those numbers don't always end up exactly, especially this past year, because with COVID, things were quite crazy, to be honest. But those are our goals for each incoming class.
Thank you.
Yeah. We accept 25 to 30 per class per year. That's about, we try to keep it at 25, but sometimes you get those good ones. You're like, we want them too. And if they come, we pull them in and things. And we try to keep it kind of gender balanced so that we have the acting classes are a little more balanced that way too as well. Yeah.
And what is it that you're looking for? It's sometimes harder to get to college than to get away. What is it that appeals to you in a student?
Sorry, go ahead, Christine.
No, go ahead.
I know for us, just from being with the program, I've only been with the program for the last couple of years, and I'm part of the recruiting team, and watching our teams at work and what we're looking for, and again, when it came to the dance, let's be balanced. Let's not worry about too much about the stronger dancers. But we want to know that the student's coachable. There's a lot that come in that are fantastic, but are they going to be reachable? Are they going to be able to take the criticism? Are they going to be able to want to work and change old habits and things and things like that? And as we all know in the audition room, even with professionals, who's workable and who you can be able to collaborate with, So I think that for us is what we really look for is, even if you're fantastic, even if you're weak, are you coachable? Can we give you the tools that you want to achieve the career should you go out and chase it when you've left MSoM?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's really that, we actually run our auditions like a class. So we get 20 to 25 students in a room with 2 faculty members and a pianist, and we teach them a class basically. So they get up and they do their material, but we coach them. We ask them to do it again. We, so we really get to work with the prospective students in a way that they can actually learn what we're like and how we function as an institution and how we teach. And then we also learn so much more about them, because I absolutely agree. It's not about being a polished performer when you're in high school. It's not about that at all. It's really about the potential and the workability and the passion for what you're doing. That is so much more important. And again, it comes down to storytelling. We don't need perfect voices, but we'll take some imperfections if you're dedicated to telling that story.
Thank you. This question is specifically for Manhattan School of Music. If you're a viewer watching, remember, please comment on YouTube or Facebook, and we will ask your question live. This is from YouTube. This is from a user named Sophia Mains. At Manhattan School of Music, are you able to cross-study between the opera and musical theater programs, or at least audition for performances in both?
That is actually a great question. It's in the works. That's what we're now that we've established our 4-year program, and we're in the building and we're trying to figure things out. It's on the table, and I believe that's what they're discussing to, like, how does this work? Is it an independent study? Is this, is this off the books? It's so many questions because, it all comes down to credibility and how many hours you're putting in, and if you're in rehearsals for one thing and you miss rehearsals for the other thing, and it's a lot to, it's a big discussion. It's being worked on, but it's definitely something that's on MSM's table for sure.
Thank you. This question is also from YouTube. It is from a user named Uni Mora. This is for both. We'll start with Christine. Does your faculty teach different styles considering the evolving styles of today's musical theater?
Dance or acting?
I wish I could ask, but I'm getting evolving styles. So I'm guessing a mix of everything. Now obviously pop rock and hip hop is so much more necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have a whole pop rock class that students, it's an elective that students can take. And typically the final for that is done at a pop rock venue in New York City, typically downtown somewhere, right at 11 p.m. at night. We also have a class in cabaret, working with Lenny Watts, and they do, again, their final performances at one of our cabaret houses in New York City. So both of those classes are all different styles of music, whatever suits that performer. Usually it's in that pop rock realm, but some of them will do jazz standards, whatever is in there kind of suits the individual. But I will also say all of our seniors we require pop rock material in their audition books. So we spend a lot of time finding that material. And for dance, all of our dance teachers all have their own style, but I will say our dance typically is 2 days of ballet, 2 days of theater, dance, jazz, and 1 day of tap every week. But everyone does that slightly differently. We have Dina Moore. She's, Queen and Fosse. So she does her take on what that is. We have other people that do have more hip hop background so they're bringing their own styles, and our students have a new teacher every year. So they get exposed to different styles of teaching and those faculty members' personal styles that are strengths to them.
Thank you. Can we talk a little bit about the advantages of going to school in New York City or even near New York City for students?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm a Dallas Texan by nature. I mean, by my origin, and so having not been able to go to school in New York, and I see these students come to school in New York, I'm like, again, what a privilege. I mean, it's Broadway and Theater District is in your backyard, Yes. So it's something we remind our students, don't worry about the expensive tickets. Go sit in the back row. Go sit in the front row. Just go see theater. And it's, of course, it's pandemic, so don't get on the subway right now. But you get on the subway and just head downtown and to see a show. It's just, I think it's fantastic.
We often say that the city is our classroom, and we truly believe that. Our students dance at various studios around the city because we don't actually have all of our dance studios on campus because space in New York, real estate, right? But we use the Lincoln Center Library. No other school is going to have access to what's at the Lincoln Center Library, right. From the music that's available, but also to all the Broadway archival recordings that our students have to go watch some during their musical theater history class, right? St. Anne's Warehouse, the Public Theater, all of the downtown theaters, the different types of theaters that aren't fully commercial, just broadening the horizons of our students. Like Broadway isn't it. So even though we're in New York, and of course they see Broadway shows, a lot of smaller towns aren't going to have the developmental theater that students can go see and be a part of before it becomes commercial or when it never comes commercial. And I think that's such a selling point. And I also think that when they graduate, there isn't that 6-month, year-long period where if they're moving to New York after graduation, that they have to figure it all out. Our students all have day jobs. I mean, clearly they know the subways. They have their faculty, and we're there. They can come have coffee with us whenever they want to, right? They've already made connections at BDC and STEPS. They've made connections with casting directors and agents already, because that's part of the master classes that we do, because we're here and people are willing to come to our schools and have those conversations. So I think it gives people a leg up. But listen, that said, I know that it's not for everyone. I think that some 18-year-olds are going to thrive more on a traditional college campus, and that's absolutely their choice, and that there's nothing wrong with that. But I do think some of the special things about being in Manhattan are hard to beat.
Thank you. This question is from Camille Foisey. I hope I pronounced that right. They are a high school senior. What day will you release your audition plans?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact day. I would say in the beginning of September, but I'm not positive. I can say that we're trying to figure out how we're going to manage. I think I can say that we're not going to have an in-person audition in November as we typically do. And for people that were looking for that audition, we encourage you to submit digitally, because we do allow digital submissions. For any of our auditions, if you can't make the travel, if the travel's too expensive, whatever that is, we take our digital auditions just as seriously as an in-person audition. But we're still figuring out the spring, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Christine. It's everything is still so up in the air that I think the main focus right now is how do we get the digital submissions in. And then I know for a fact our admissions right now is like pulling their hair out, trying to figure out how they're going to get it together and make it work before they can even think when they're going to announce, because I'm sure that's what they want to do. They want to be able to announce. But our wonderful Christina Quintal, she works to her fingertips with admissions, trying to get it figured out and everything. So, yeah, I wish I could have an answer for that too, but same as Christine, usually it is in the fall, you know, October, November, we're getting that information out, you know, so.
We are obviously getting closer and closer to August and September. Are there plans for in-person classes at your institutions or semester?
Yeah, we definitely have our start date for September 9th. And we're still working out the details as far as are some classes going to be live or some going to be still Zooming in. It's still a big, I wouldn't say conversation, it's just figuring out which teacher is comfortable, which is not. You know, I know for like my dance classes, you know, if you get anywhere from 25 to 30 students in a room, you know, it's like, well, only 10 could be in the room, but maybe the other 20 are going to have to Zoom in, and maybe we rotate and we figure that out. So that's one way of doing, you know, and we have different tracks. Some students are probably they're more comfortable just staying home and just Zooming in. So we have a plan. It's just many plans, and they're just not solidified yet. But it's I know in these next couple of weeks, that's what we are working on now, is figuring that out, because we would like to be ahead before we get into August, where we're then scrambling at the last second.
Thank you. I have a couple of viewers I'd like to bring on to the broadcast, if that's all right.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh.
Hi there.
Hi,
How's
guys.
it going?
How are you?
Great.
Good. Can you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your time at Marymount, Manhattan?
Great. My name is Melissa Rose Hirsch. I graduated at Marymount Manhattan College in 2014. I had a BA in theater arts and a minor in musical theater, and I had an amazing experience at Marymount. I loved being in Manhattan. I loved getting exposure. I loved the teachers. I had an amazing time.
Thank you.
I actually transferred into Marymount after attending a state college for a few years, and I absolutely loved my time there. I hit the ground running, and you know, I was involved in several productions. As a performer, I was roped into music directing some things, which was a blast. Working with some audio there, so it was a really fun experience for me, and it was it was very different from my university experience, and that's what I loved about it. It was, for me, a lot more personal, and their attention to I guess my personal skills was amazing. They definitely let me explore many paths while I was there, which I absolutely loved.
Thank you. I'm loving this setup. It is very fancy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit, Ashton, about how Marymount prepared you for your career today?
Yeah, absolutely. So far, so good. I've been able to stay busy. I have had the benefit of working in multiple facets of theater. I've worked as a sound engineer and designer. I've done lighting
Wow.
on national tours. I've been in national tours as a performer. I was in the second national tour of A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which was a blast to be on the road with for so long. And Marymount really was the perfect playground to come to and hone all of those different skills. A lot of other approaches, I think, to the theater world are very, very specific about like one part of theater, and they don't really encourage you to go off and explore other parts of theater. And I think Marymount did that wonderfully for me. I had excellent teachers who noticed I had a knack for certain things and would encourage me to do them. And all right, you're going to go ahead and music direct this student directed show, and just I constantly was thrown into situations that really made me grow as a performer. And for me, I think, the more you learn about any part of theater, the more it helps everything. I think just being a well-rounded theater artist. I also think one of the main reasons I loved Marymount as well was its proximity in the city. Our campus really is the city, and I think it prepares you so well for graduated life, and being able to navigate the subway system and get to Daily Dance down in Midtown, and then be back up on the Upper East Side for your first class of the day. And it's a really fun family feeling school, and it's a safe place to explore and learn how to be an artist in the city.
Thanks. Melissa, same question.
Yeah, I was just, everything that Ashton is saying is so true. I think for me personally, once I graduated, I fell into the land of new musical theater, developmental work. And that's kind of where I've lived post-grad. And I love that. I love like the birth of a new piece, being on the ground running, and starting in New York City and being at Marymount Manhattan College really made that a possibility for me, because, on the weekends I would go downtown and see like cool, new, grungy live theater. And we also had the privilege of working with people who currently were in the business and got to come to our school and come in. So a lot of the people, a lot of people who I work with today, still in my career, are people who I met at Marymount and people who I got to meet when I was in school or when I was out of school. And I made those connections in the city while I was still a student. I also am someone who, like Ashton, who does a lot. I also do casting on the side, and I'm a musical theater writer as well. And at Marymount, we were never discouraged to just stick to one lane. And I think today, specifically now in the create your own work kind of world, that's really, really important to hone in on and to learn about all the different talents you have and about all the different routes that you can take. And at Marymount is where I first discovered that about myself, on the Upper East Side, in a really safe, beautiful space. And I owe a lot to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, both of you. I so appreciate it. I wish you the best. In the future, we'll stay in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Take care. I'd love to bring in two other viewers, if that's okay. Just give us one sec. We got to do the same for Manhattan. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
If you could introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your time at Manhattan School of Music.
Me first. I'm Jenna Laverne. Like David, I just graduated, or whatever you call our graduation, during this time from Manhattan School of Music. I decided to go there. I'm originally from the Silicon Valley, and when I was like 11, I wanted to go to college in New York. And I went to MSM, and it was definitely the best decision I've ever made. And I know that any success that I have in my career will be from this school and the connections that I made there.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm David. I miss you, Jenna, and I miss you. Yeah, I'm in the same boat where I knew right after high school, I knew I wanted to go to college in the city. I knew I wanted to be in the Big Apple, and I wanted to be near the theater. I wanted to be able to see a Broadway show at night and have rehearsals with my friends and be on the Upper West Side and the beautiful area that we're in on Claremont Avenue. And it was the best choice that I made at that time because it really prepares you for everything that you want and more. It makes you a more well-rounded actor, singer, dancer. And the things I think that it was the best for me is that I wasn't as confident with my dancing or with some classical repertoire. And people like Enrique, they really push you and really encourage you to be your best self and make great art. And it was the best choice.
Now, I've been going to Marymount Manhattan. I'm obviously familiar with the program. There's terrific talent there. But the first time I came to Manhattan School of Music, I could not believe the level of talent for being a new program. It was just incredible. Can you talk a little bit about why you chose a new program and what that was like?
It's actually funny. Jenna and I knew each other from a summer program years prior.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We were talking before we knew if she was accepted, if I was accepted. We were saying, what are your thoughts with this new program? It's brand new. We don't know where it's going to go.
We were really nervous about it.
But I think that's what made it really exciting. I think that's why both of us said we need to take this opportunity, and the people that you're surrounded by and the networking and Randy Graff and my incredible voice teacher Judith Thurman. It's been incredible.
Yeah, definitely at the same boat. I still remember like messaging David because he's the only person that I knew like who got accepted. It was definitely a big risk, and it was Manhattan School of Music checked off none of my boxes like school wise. I got a small school in life, so I wanted to go to the big university. I wanted to go to the football games. I wanted to take classes outside of theater. I wanted to meet people who didn't do arts and were athletes and writers and all of that stuff. And I was checking out some of the schools that had everything I wanted, like big school wise, and the program itself just didn't have everything that I wanted. And I was a little worried about it, and I was so conflicted. And then I visited MSM, and my audition was a walk-in because I was convinced I wasn't going to go there. But I got accepted, and so I went and visited, and I talked with Louis Perez, who was the head at the time, and it was everything that I wanted in a program. So, and because of that, I really had to ask myself, like, why am I going to college in the first place? Like, to study this. I'm not just going to college to go to college. Like, I have a goal, and this is for my career, and MSM was everything that I wanted. And it was a huge risk, but I knew that was the right thing to do. And I knew, and my gut was telling me that I just had to pursue it because it checked off all the boxes that I wanted in the program, and I knew that was the most important part.
Thank you so much. That's a hell of an answer. I do these. I want to go back to school.
It's fun. Learning is cool.
I guys got a little bit shafted, obviously, with everything that's happened with COVID-19. But I'm so excited for you to start your careers. It is only a matter of time before you get to jump in. And I wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Take
Of
care.
course.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Awesome. I want to transition a little bit now to audition requirements. If you can talk a little bit about the audition process, exactly what the requirements are, and I'd love to highlight that GPA because we always have so many questions about what is needed in terms of grades.
So we use the common pre-screen requirements that were established by Paper Mill Playhouse. So if anyone isn't familiar with that, there are a long list of schools now that are using the common pre-screen digital requirements. So if any submission is coming through to us digitally, you can take a look on their website. But basically, it's 60 to 90-minute cuts. But the video has to be less than 60 to 90-second cuts, clearly, right? We ask for 2 contrasting songs, 1 traditional, 1 contemporary, as well as a contemporary monologue. And then we do have a wild card. So if you want to do the wild card is always optional for the digital. So that's on the digital end. But I speak about that first because I feel like this year, most of our auditions are going to be digital. So those are the requirements. It's the 2 contrasting songs. I truly recommend, especially for the ladies, for the sopranos and altos, that if you do have a legit voice and a belt, that you do 1 of each so that we can hear the contrast in those 2 voices. That just helps us know more about you. But if you don't, that's absolutely okay as well. Choose 2 different stories, 2 different characters you want to portray, whatever that contrast is for you. For our in-person auditions, it's basically the same, but we ask for 16 to 32 bar cuts. So just slightly shorter cuts because we do them classroom style, and we want time to work with everyone. And we want time to, ask questions and give you coaching and ideas to think about. So the cuts are slightly shorter for our in-person auditions. Yeah.
Ours is pretty much similar. The only slight difference, digitally, is the same amount of length of time, same idea, with the 2 contrasting songs, a monologue, but we actually provide a list of monologues we would like them to choose from, so we can hear. And then they submit a dance video of a combo of their choosing, whatever they feel comfortable showing us. Also very short clips, just so we get a sense of what their background is in dance, in movement, in itself. And then when we get to our live, we basically just repeat everything, except we actually have a dance class for the dance audition versus them coming in and singing with us and reading with us. Same idea of leaving enough time to talk to them, get to know them, maybe a little bit of coaching. It almost feels like it's a professional audition, when we see them in person. Yeah.
Sorry, I have some audio issues. Can you tell me a little bit about GPA requirements?
I have to look it up, to be honest, because I don't work on the admissions side of that side. So our students to audition for Marymount do have to be accepted academically into the school prior to auditioning for one of our performance programs. I will say that we are also a test optional school, so that if you were not able to take the SATs or ACTs, we do accept students based on high school GPA and letters of recommendation without those test scores, because times are weird.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'd have to look it up, but I am sure it is on our website, in our admissions portal.
Yeah. Same double check, but I believe we look at a 3.0 higher. We keep it up. We want kids to be able to come in and feel confident about their grades and their work and the effort that it takes to put into the work. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have a senior showcase? And if so, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, we do. We just actually did our first one. We had to do it, like I think everybody did it pretty much on Zoom and on digital, of course. But the plan was clearly to do it like everybody else, and we do have a senior showcase late in the spring. We were hoping to get into a location in a venue to do it for the first time, and we didn't get to. So next year we'll get to work on that and work on a location.
We've, for the last, I want to say 4 or 5 years, we've done our senior showcase with Actors Connection. So it's a closed showcase. The students do their material twice in a day, once in the morning, And then once again, in the afternoon for different panels of casting directors and agents. There are usually about 5 people in the room. And what I think is great about is they get feedback in the room from that panel of folks, and then they also get some written feedback afterwards. So it's not just about signing someone or getting that. It's actually about having people respond to you and give feedback when they've never met you before. Because as much as, you know, we faculty can say things over and over again and talk to them about things, sometimes someone else that they haven't met, that's seeing them for the first time, may have an interesting impression or some really good advice for our students. So I think that's a really important part of the showcase experience. I always tell the students, this is not the one day be all end all of your career. It's one audition you're going to. And it's an audition where you're actually going to get feedback from the people you audition for, unlike most of your professional auditions where you may never hear anything. So I think that's a really good mindset to go into showcase with. And but as Enrique said, yeah, this year was a little strange, but in general, that's what we do. We also have a website for our seniors on as part of Marymount's page, and so this year all of their digital information is up along with their headshots and resumes.
Same.
Thank you. This next question is from Facebook. This is from Sonia Lebretz Comstock. How do you recommend that a rising senior approach their college search this year, knowing that many colleges will not be able to tour in person for auditions? What a great question.
I think
let's start with Christine.
It's really hard this year. We feel for you guys because we want you to be on campus. We want you to get to see where we are and feel, because all schools have a certain vibe and a feeling to them. And I think that's such an important part of the process. I was just talking with some alumni yesterday and actually some current students about this very thing. And there are a lot of social media platforms where you can engage with current students and alums of schools. And I think that's a great place to start. I mean, of course, talk to the admissions counselors. We have an admissions person just for theater and dance at Marymount who's extremely knowledgeable. And he also has student workers that are student recruiters that work with him and will answer a ton of questions. And I think that's always a great place to start. But I encourage people to also talk, see what they can find from other students that are there. And I think you'll get a sense of the place that way. The other option is hopefully by next spring, when everyone has to make those final choices, hopefully we will have the ability to have more in-person tours. So it may be that you're auditioning digitally, but maybe once you know where you're accepted, then you can make a couple of those visits in person.
Yeah, same. It's that, you know, we put together a virtual tour last spring as best we could. That, you know, because once we were starting the virtual tour that we thought would be live, then they closed down the building. So we're like, well, then let's just take a picture of the studio really quick. Let's say, you know, and put it together and we'll get it out there as best we can. And luckily our incoming freshmen that came in all said they were coming. And so that was good. But like Christine said, yeah, going forward, hopefully in the spring, you know, it'd be great to have them on campus because, you know, when they come to visit and they come and audit a class and see what we're up to and stuff, it's fantastic. You know, it's a way to really show them like, this is what we do and this is what you can expect. And here are the students and you get to meet them, you know. But we also do have a meet and greet committee through our Office I Omega that also reaches out to students who are interested, and they keep a forum going with them, and they can reach out to them as well through our social media for musical theater and MSoM as well.
And we also do have a virtual tour, and we have a virtual tour of the dorms as well. So if anyone's interested, they can find those on the website.
Thank you. This next question is about scholarship and financial aid. Can you tell us a little bit about your scholarship and financial aid package? Is it merit-based? Is it need-based? If you could talk a little bit about that for both of your programs, I'd love to start with Enrique.
I wish I could answer this. It's like going back to what Christine said before. Admissions is really the ones who target that, and Liza Gennaro, they're all in collaboration with how that works. And so, yes, there's merit behind it for sure. It's the grades. It comes down to who needs it, you know. And so it's a lot of factors that go into the planning. But I don't want to give any direct answer to that, as you know, admissions has their formula that they do with that, and Liza is in conversation with that.
Yeah, I mean, I can say we have merit-based scholarships that are based on the application, GPA, test scores, that stuff. We also do have performance-based scholarships that we, the theater department, will award. And I think an important part of that conversation and kind of questions to be asking is, our performance scholarships and our merit-based scholarships, as long as the GPA is kept at a certain level, and again, you need to check on that level, I'm not exactly sure, but those scholarships are good for all 4 years. We don't give out freshman year only scholarships, which some places do. So, but we do have a wide range of financial aid available, but it's admissions is really in charge of that portion of it.
This next question is from Juan Pablo Malero from Mexico. He is a high school senior. What is your stance on overdone material?
I mean, I would, if you do it really well, you do it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my thing. If you want to do it and you think you do it really well and you have a story to tell, you do what feels good to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's that whole saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of mentality in our industry, but yet there's room for rethinking how it's done, and maybe creating something new. This goes back to the conversation about the canon, however except, but so how can we change the canon then, without it feeling like we've done that already, but like Christine says, yeah, I say if you can fix it or not fix it, you can adapt it and make it something new and change something, you go for it, but if you want to move on for something, try something new, It's a wide spectrum.
Thank you. I have time for one last question. I think it's the most important question. Why should we attend Manhattan School of Music, and why should we attend Marymount Manhattan College? I will let whoever'd like to take it first.
Christine, please go.
Oh my goodness, that's a big question. So many reasons. I mean, I think both of our schools, I have to say, being located in New York, and I think it's an amazing place to be to study theater. There's just nowhere like it. And even if you decide you want to move to Atlanta or Chicago or LA or somewhere else to do theater afterwards, I think that getting the education in New York City, where so many things are happening and so many things are starting, is just really a fantastic experience. For Marymount, I truly believe in our liberal arts education, and we are one of the few BFA programs that are situated in still very much a liberal arts context. So our students still take a large chunk of credits in the liberal arts, and we talk about how theater isn't just about theater usually or ever. It's about religion, it's about history, it's about politics, it's about civil rights, it's about all of these other things. And so we really believe in making our students well-rounded humans and citizens of this world. And as you heard our alums talking about, we really encourage them to not just have the narrow focus, is to explore the things you want to do. Directing, great, so take some directing classes. You want to do playwriting, you want to do comm arts administration. There are so many other things, and we do really encourage our students to explore, knowing that as 16, 17, 18-year-olds, they don't always know what all those options are, or even that they might have a real interest in something else. And I think that's a really important part of the education that you get at Marymount.
Yeah, I'm completely going to agree with Christine. It's New York. I mean, I think all these schools, from Tisch to Marymount to us to any school here in New York, we're all after the same goal for our students that are here in New York, is to give them the tools and the resources to start building a network and be a part of this industry right at the get-go, as soon as they step foot here in New York. I think that's the advantage we have to all these other programs across America, is that we are here. And like Christine said, if you want to really get that theater study, you go to Chicago. If you really want that industrial study, you go to LA, so it's there. But what a way to get your foundation here in New York, with all these fabulous faculty members and instructors and guest instructors. And it's just, this industry in New York is such a wide pool. You get to come be a part of it. and also make it even bigger. So, you know, we're New York, baby. It's the industry. It's our schools. All of our schools here are worth being here, and I'm sure we would all love to take everybody. Clearly, we can't. But if you can come to New York, you come to New York. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for being here today. We have a couple of social media handles. We'll see just below the screen if you'd like to follow Marymount Manhattan College and Manhattan School of Music to learn more about their programs, see what their students are up to. Those are the handles right there on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope to see you in person soon.
Yes. Thank you so much.
For having us.
I really appreciate meeting you.
Absolutely.
All right, take care. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to tune in on Monday, we are chatting with director Scott Ellis, and Wednesday with director and writer of Girl from the North Country, Connor McPherson. Please follow us on Instagram at Playbill and at The Growing Studio for the most up-to-date information on all of our streams. Thank you so much again. I'm Danny George. Take care.